a miscarriage. Daktari, nimepoteza mtoto, my first pregnancy at 16 weeks, my second pregnancy at 12 weeks. I've lost, women have lose pregnancies, even 7, 8 pregnancies, and and even when they become pregnant in their next pregnancy, they still seek for help way too late, because something like losing a pregnancy in your second trimester is something that we can avert, because the causes are more of structural. And what do I mean by structural? It means probably their cervix is shortened, or it's opening too way early because of the pressure of the pregnancy. And you can just go in and put a stitch, what is called a McDonald stitch, and then you avert this loss. So I would say most of the women come to us when a problem has already occurred. Yes.
So quite late.
Quite late.
Yeah, and I think it's a thing with us, unfortunately.
Yes.
You know, as much as it's not something we should proclaim and say this is just how we are, but I guess, that's the reason why we have such conversations, just so we put it out there that just go before. You know, prevention is always better. Just go before, get checked, and it will ease things for you later. Now, there's something you mentioned that, you know, a high pregnancy risk, a high risk pregnancy rather, can affect future pregnancies. Is this guarantee, or it may or may not?
Being that it has occurred does not necessarily mean that it will occur in the next pregnancy. Let's take, for instance, preeclampsia, or what hypertensive disease of pregnancy. It can occur in several pregnancies, and doesn't really mean that in your next pregnancy that you're going to actually have high blood pressure. But it is now a risk factor for that new pregnancy. So other factors that can be risk factors are like a family history of hypertension. Maybe your mother had high blood pressure in her pregnancy. So that particular woman is also at more risk of developing high blood pressure in her pregnancy. Does not necessarily mean she's going to develop it. Same as diabetes. It doesn't mean that because you develop diabetes in your last pregnancy, you're going to develop diabetes in your next pregnancy. It only means that the risk factor is there. You are at a high probability of developing these conditions because you had in your previous pregnancies. It's a risk factor.
It's a risk factor. It's not guaranteed that.
It's not guaranteed.
Okay. Now, to our viewers, remember that you can get to join into this conversation that we are having with Dr. Wanjiku. All you have to do is send us a message on WhatsApp. The number is 0716-103-301, 0716-103-301. You can also get to call in live if you want to talk to the doctor. You can call in live via the same number. Let us know what questions do you have for our doctor today regarding high-risk pregnancy. That is what we're asking you. So either send a message on WhatsApp or call in live, and the doctor is here just for you. She will ensure to answer all your questions regarding high-risk pregnancies. Now, Doc, how does care differ for a high-risk pregnancy compared to a low-risk pregnancy?
Actually, they differ, but there are those things that generally should be adhered to. The recommended number of clinics, or what most of us know as antenatal visits, should be 8. That is recommended number of antenatal visits. But now for high-risk pregnancy, we need to see this mother as often as the need arises, or as often as possible. Let's take for instance a mother with high blood pressure. There are so many things that are going within her body that we need to keep monitoring for both the mother and for both the baby. Now let's take for instance the mother with high blood pressure. Means every organ in her body can actually be affected. That includes the kidneys, that includes the heart, the brain, liver. And so we need to monitor her, to continuously monitor this mother. The other thing we need to continue monitoring.
Allow me to cut you short a bit. We have a caller. We have
right.
Monica calling in from Kitale. Good morning, Monica. Good morning, Monica. If you can...
Hello.
Hi, we can hear you. Go ahead and... Oh, we lost her, unfortunately. Okay, let's go on. I'm sure she'll get back on the line.
Yeah. So for the fetus, we need to do continuous monitoring, and we do continuous monitoring with the ultrasounds, so that we know, is this baby having an optimal growth? And there's usually a curve that we use, and the anticipated weight that the fetus is supposed to add each week. So if this deviates, then we need to act with a lot of care, because at times it can reach a stage where the baby is not growing further, meaning we are having fetal growth restriction. So then we have to decide, what are we going to do in this at this particular time? Maybe it's still early, too early on, like maybe 28 weeks, that 2 weeks, that 2 weeks, that 4 weeks. The pregnancy has not been optimized, which is from 38 weeks to 40 plus weeks, meaning we need to act. And if we see like the baby is compromised, we can do certain things like give medication to just mature the lungs, and to give other medications that can protect the brain, so that we can deliver this baby. Because it means if the baby continues to be in the uterus, they will continue to be restricted, because as we had said, the placenta is what nourishes the baby, and this placenta is already compromised. What we call placental insufficiency.
All right, allow me to pick this call. We have Sarah from Taita Taveta. Good morning, Sarah.
Morning.
Talk to us. What question do you have for our doctor today?
Ningependa kuuliza daktari maswali kiasi.
Muulize.
Mimi nimekuwa na shida nikipokea pregnancy, ninakuwa na pain lote kwa muda mrefu, alafu ikifika kama 3 months inatoka. Alafu sasa kama last month nilipata, ikifika miezi 3 itatoka. Sasa kutoka hapo mpaka wanao sijapata tena. Nataka kupata mtoto.
Okay. Asante kwa swali lako. Daktari amepata kusikia. So for her, her pregnancy has been, you know, she never carries her pregnancy to term. Every 3 months, she loses her pregnancy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the losses in the early on in pregnancy, what we call first trimester pregnancy losses, there can be many factors that can actually cause that to the pregnancy to be lost. This includes chromosomal abnormalities. So for chromosomal abnormalities, genetic abnormalities, it means that the body itself is what is rejecting the fetus or the embryo. So the body, through its own mechanism, once it rejects the pregnancy, that's why women get bleeding and eventually sorry for that, miscarries the pregnancy. So other things are like the structural factors. How is her uterus? Has it been investigated? Is it the way the uterus is supposed to appear, meaning on the inside? Because there are other structural factors inside the uterus that can actually cause a miscarriage. So in terms of genetic or chromosomal factors that can cause a pregnancy loss, this is where we can actually take whatever the mother loses, that blood that the mother loses, and take it for genetic mapping, so that we see what is causing the pregnancy losses.
Okay. So you would advise her to go see her doctor. Sorry about that.
Yes. And even during the pregnancy loss, those whatever has been lost can actually be taken for genetic mapping, so that we know whether it's chromosome abnormalities, so that we know whether it's genetic abnormalities, and then we are able to advise from there.
All right.
Yes.
I believe the doctor has gotten to answer your question. There are other messages that are coming in, if I may just read through them. Is the pregnancy risk heightened by some occupations, which involve handling products like chemicals, petroleum products, and the likes? Another one, good morning, kindly send me the number for Dr. Wanjiko and location of her clinic. I'm sure she'll let us know where she's located by the end of the show. Another person asking to talk to you as well. How do you manage patients who are under psychiatric medication to prevent and manage high-risk pregnancies? And one more. Hello, I'm Mercy from Meru. I have a question. If I tested my pregnancy before my expected periods, will it give accurate results? So let's begin with this one from Mercy. The question was, if I tested my pregnancy before my expected periods, will it give me actual results?
So now there are two ways to test a pregnancy, or rather there are many ways to test a pregnancy, and one of it is through you have missed your periods. So you know, if my periods are usually regular and I have missed my periods, I could be pregnant. So you go to test. If you test earlier on, let's say, take for example a urine test, it might not show, but with time, as the hormone for pregnancy increases, sorry for that, the urine pregnancy test can actually test positive, and that is where you see the two lines on the pregnancy strip. The other way to test a pregnancy, if it's earlier on, is actually through blood, called a serum pregnancy test. That one can actually even detect a pregnancy way earlier on than a urine test.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me read other messages here before we get back to the doctor so that she can answer the rest that I've read. After how long should one get pregnant after a CS delivery? Another one is asking, are there pregnancy risks if a woman who has been using certain contraceptives for a long time before conceiving? Another one is asking about what factors determine whether a fetus is born at 6 months or 9 months in a high-risk situation. Those are some of the questions that have come in. I want us to go back to the question that had asked about the heightened, risk factors in some occupations.
Actually, there are some occupations that we don't advocate for pregnancy.
Oh, really?
Somewhere like high radiation, that is can be very risky to the pregnancy, and this means that if you are exposed continuously to radiation, then it means you can't get congenital anomalies for the baby. So other occupation, if you know, like you have had preterm, let's take for instance preterm labor, meaning your labor comes way
Hold that thought just a bit. I'm sorry about that. We have a caller, Monica from Shale. You're back. Good morning.
Morning to you.
Uliza swali lako tafadhali.
Swali langu liko out of topic.
Go on.
Hello.
Yeah, tunakusikia.
Mimi niko 43 years. Na niko na watoto wawili, nitatoka mtoto wa tatu. Sasa last year mtoto nilidada kapata na period zangu tunakuja na nikapotea kabisa, sijapata period. Kuanzia mwezi wa 7. Sasa hadi leo sijapata period, sijui shida iko wapi.
No. Did you get her question?
So she's asking about...
Asante Monica.
She has asked about loss of her periods after her delivery. 2 years, I think. Now, something we call exclusive breastfeeding, which we advocate, especially for the first 6 months, can make your periods not to come. That means the way the hormones are, the hormones that favors menstrual periods has been suppressed by the production of another hormone that supports breastfeeding, and that is prolactin. Prolactin is a hormone that makes the milk to come. And then we have estrogen that has been suppressed during breastfeeding. This is what suppresses the menstrual periods, and actually this period is when we say you can use the lactational, what we call lactational amenorrhea, to some sort of a contraception. Because if you're not having your estrogen, meaning you're not ovulating, and therefore you are not going to get pregnant. But that, get me right, does not mean that we don't advocate for family planning. We advocate for family planning after delivery, as early as 6 weeks after delivery. In some women, we actually even put an IUD, what we call copper T, even after immediately 24 hours within delivery. So if Monica is not getting her periods 2 years, she should we should see probably her with a scan, and then we can advise her further.
Okay.
Yeah.
There
because
was
at this
question.
point, yeah. Okay.
Okay. So,
at this point, I'm sure she's not doing the exclusive breastfeeding. Probably she has already weaned the baby. Yeah.
All right. Let's take a very short break. A short break, and then we'll be back.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
All right, and we are back, and I'll allow our doctor to answer the questions that have come in. You had mentioned on the occupations that may cause high-risk pregnancy. As you finalize on answering that, you can also touch on the question that had been asked on managing patients who are under psychiatric medication. Yeah.
So on occupation, I had already talked about radiation, and then on occupation, actually, it's one of the support systems that we seek for. So that if a pregnancy is at high risk, like at work, we advocate that women should be given either they're given light duties or they are allowed to go when they're having the crisis to just go on for a rest, maybe for a couple of days and then come back. Or if it involves like long-standing, especially for women like preterm labor or repeated miscarriages, we just encourage that they should be given lighter duties, which doesn't involve a lot of strenuous activities. So in terms of psychiatric issues, this is something there's also a supportive system that is called multidisciplinary team, and this team involves all the care providers, such as the obstetrician, the psychiatrist, the nutritionist, the cardiologist, and everyone who can be involved with in the care of that woman, depending on whatever the risk is. So some drugs can be actually are toxic to the pregnancy, and this means that the baby can be affected. And so there are some drugs that we withdraw from the daily medication for that woman, so that we transition them to medications that are actually safe for them.
Okay.
Then you asked me about something. Someone asked about cesarean delivery and when can we, after how long? The recommended period is actually after 18 months, and this is we not only to strengthen or to have the integrity of the uterine wall to be strong, but also for the woman to go back to her pregnancy levels. And this is, remember, this is a time when breastfeeding is just ending, so that you are now able to be ready for another pregnancy. But the recommended time for cesarean delivery is actually 18 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other question was on what factors determine whether a fetus is born at 6 months or 9 months.
A fetus can be born early, depending on everything that we talked about, excluding now the age. That includes your lifestyle. Are you taking alcohol? Are you smoking? Are you taking drugs? Are you undernourished, meaning below 18 BMI? Are you obese, meaning over 24 BMI? Are you taking your supplements? Because supplements are like folic acid is something that prevents some congenital anomalies, what we call neurotube defects. So are you taking your supplements? If you are someone who has had high blood pressure in your next pregnancy, in this following pregnancy, we need to put you on calcium supplements and something that is called aspirin. And aspirin is normally given from 12 weeks, and that is when there is a lot of remodeling going on the placenta. So we need to give aspirin to make the vessels a high capacitance vessels rather than a low capacitance vessels. So there are so many things that pregnancies can be lost at any stage of life of the pregnancy, depending on the risk. Are we having structural factors? Are we having hematologic factors? Are we having immune factors that can reject this pregnancy?
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another question here. Someone is saying, I started taking anti-acid medicine and even got injected, and later on I found out I was pregnant 2 months.
Yes.
Can the medication affect my pregnancy?
There's antacids, like antacids can be in terms of gel, it can be in terms of tablets, and it can actually be in terms of injections. Now, injections like a drug called esomeprazole is actually safe in pregnancy, and I really don't think it was the injection that affected, because remember what I said is that once you're pregnant, we tend to transform you from, or to transition you from the harmful medication into the safe medication in pregnancy. So if you're going to the clinic, or you're going to a specialist, or you're going to a care provider, then it means they are able to transition you from those harmful drugs into what is more safe for the pregnancy.
All right. Unfortunately, we have to come to the end of the program, but there are so many other questions. Maybe if you can just mention where they can find you, so that they may pose the question now to you after this.
So by reach me out, you mean cell number. My cell number is 0721 55 8744. I'm also can be reached at my clinic, which is called Silvacrado Gynecology and Family Clinic, which is located at Modiga.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wanjiko, for joining us. And thank you for shedding light on this very important conversation that is high-risk pregnancies.
Yes.
It was a pleasure having you on the show.
To
every one of you who has taken part in ensuring that this show was a success, from the people that are behind the cameras to you, our viewer, we thank you so much. And remember, we have this kind of segments every Tuesday where we talk about matters health. So be sure to stay with us. Goodbye.
Looking to advertise on KBC? KBC announcement services are now available on eCitizen. Visit kbc.ecitizen.go.ke and fill out the online application form. It's simple. 1. Complete the form. 2. Upload required documents. 3. Receive a quotation based on word count. And 4. Get notified via SMS when your announcement is ready. Please note, clearly indicate the type of announcement, service station, and all relevant details. 2. All applications must be made online only. Manual submissions will not be accepted. And 3. Announcements will air after news bulletins. For assistance, reach us on email ecitizen@kbc.co.ke or use our social media handles, Facebook, your Facebook account, and X at your X account. Or you can call us on 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124. KBC announcements. Simple, fast, and digital.
What if uchizi yako na watu wengi?
Magaidi waliingia kwa kijiji changu, wakaanza kuangaisha watu bila mimi Chifu Matata kufahamu lolote.
Nenda bana vaave boss pe. Muranonda tawe.
Fungua mlango. Wewe ni mgonjwa?
Hapana.
Let's assume you're wearing a smartwatch. How does it actually measure your heart rate? There are two different methods: optical pulse measurement with light and a heart rate sensor that records electrical activity. More on that now.
When it comes to accurate heart rate monitoring, we always recommend the classic chest straps. It's an electrophysiological recording. They essentially detect the heartbeats electrically, so they get a direct recording of the heartbeat. But the problem with these, of course, is that you can't wear it all day or all week.
Smartwatches, on the other hand, are much more comfortable. The heartbeat is detected by an optical sensor, which emits a light signal to measure the pulse rate. But it's not quite as accurate.
The
light is then absorbed by hemoglobin, a component of the blood from which we can derive the heart rate. But as it's a light source, everything that can interfere with light has an influence on the data quality. Things like skin color, body hair, tattoos, or perhaps scar tissue.
Smartwatches don't work as well for people of color. That's why a team at Google is experimenting with ultrasound, which would pick up the heartbeat in the ear via headphones, irrespective of skin color, light reflections, or strong movement. Besides heart rate, conventional variables often record heart acceleration. Other values like calorie consumption or blood oxygen levels are calculated using algorithms. Exactly how they work, though, is a trade secret.
Sie als Endnutzer kriegen aber letztendlich das Ergebnis. Sie können nicht abschätzen, wie viel von diesen Daten basiert auf wirklich gut gemessenen Daten, auf hoher Datenqualität und wie viel davon ist Berechnung.
We know that these devices can do wonders for motivation. For example, when swimming goggles remind me of my training program. But the wearables can also provide detailed patient data for doctors with a clear edge when it comes to convenience and price, a milestone for heart patients. In the best case scenario, wearables can detect illnesses at an early stage. In future, this obtained health data could be used to model digital twins of patients' organs, virtual models of a patient's lungs or heart, for example. But to deliver realistic values, they must first be fed with patient data. A children's hospital in Boston is at the forefront. The digital twin of a human heart. Thanks to this technology, the effects of different treatments can be tested without having to operate. Surgery on children's hearts is considered extremely risky. Boston's Children's Hospital is spearheading the use of digital twins to develop treatment plans specifically tailored to each child. At the forefront is Dr. Steve Levine. He developed the first digital twin of the human heart.
They're creating virtual twins of the children, some as early as newborn, and performing the surgeries on the virtual twin first, deciding up front what is best, and then trying it out on the child. And in many cases, they only have one shot to save the child's life, and the results have been spectacular.
Dr. Steve Levine started researching for the Living Heart project around 10 years ago for very personal reasons. His daughter Jessie suffered from a rare heart defect and had to undergo several operations as a child, not all of which were equally successful. She is now benefiting from the research because now pacemakers' optimal settings can be tested in advance and in virtual reality.
They can actually insert the pacemaker, they can replicate her condition or thousands like her, try different pacing sequences on thousands of different versions of their heart to figure out which sequence would work out best, and then try it out and confirm on her rather than experiment directly on her.
The findings can then immediately be transferred to other heart patients. Virtual therapy tests for individual organs are just the beginning though. In future, everyone will have a digital twin at their side with a personalized health plan.
I think what will happen is you will get a virtual twin, which is a generic version of a human when you're born. It'll be quickly adapted to what we know about you at that point. And then as you get older and you get more diagnostics, more tests, it gets tuned.
It might be some time before we all have a digital twin of ourselves, but until then, wearables and AI assistants can help us stay fit and healthy for longer, provided of course that we actually take their advice and work out every now and then. That's all from me. Bye and see you next time.
Wakita nazivuna tunatimia ila najua
Utifu chizi yako na watu wengi.
Magaidi waliingia kwa kijiji changu, wakaanza kuangaisha watu bila mimi Chifu Matata kufahamu lolote.
Nenda bana vaave boss pe muranonda tawe Fungua mlango. Wewe ni mgonjwa?
Hapana.
I never heard the music so sweet. I repeat.
Wagwan, me brethren, big things are going. Remember, each and every Monday we have to shell down the place with nothing but the best of smooth way the vibes in your favorite station. You know these things, man.
Alafu kila Tuesday, kata simu tupo side, giving you Kenyan music from the 254.
And of course, you can spice up your Wednesday by enjoying blazing hot hip-hop and R&B jams.
We don't got no label. She say she want bottles.
Vibes and vibes as we go all across Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, all the way to Tanzania to give you nothing but the best on Afro Thursday. Make sure you make a date with us each and every single Friday. With me, DJ_Liza Diva.
DJ Cole and me, Wanjiko. This is Club One Extra.
Unanifanya nisikie kunyongwa. Hadija ai, mani especially ukisonga.
We are shining the spotlight on the women who are shaping the Kenya's film and theatre industry.
My birth was a performance in itself.
Oh, girl.
I would put skits.
Yes.
You know, and I was the character, the actor in all the skits. I was the mother, I was the father, I was the brother, I was the sister, I was the house girl, I was everybody.
I don't think there's any actor whose parents have forced them to be actors.
Of course.
Like